Start the clock.
Right here with me.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me just first say the state of our union is fucking ridiculous. It's just, I don't even know where to start anymore. But I'm going to start with Jeff Bezos' dick because it's in the news and we don't know how big this is going to get. The story I'm talking about. But did you see this today? Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world, owns the Washington Post, which attacks Donald Trump. And the National Enquirer works for Donald Trump and attacks Robert Wagner. But also Jeff Bezos. And so it's a real billionaire with a real newspaper against a fake billionaire with a fake newspaper. And the Washington Post's motto is democracy dies in darkness. And the Enquirer's motto is Jennifer Aniston has twins, but Lonnie Anderson ate them. You following this so far? So the Enquirer got hold last week. Did you see these? Oh, my God, they're pretty embarrassing. Of texts from Jeff Bezos showing that he is having an affair with Lauren Sanchez, a TV personality. I don't know what that means. So Jeff Bezos said, hey, the Enquirer did it on the orders of Trump. They're working for Trump. And the Enquirer said, shut up about that. You shut up about that or we're going to show everybody your dick. And they'll know it's your dick, Jeff Bezos, because under the dick, it will say, there are some other dicks that you might enjoy. I know, it's insane. But Bezos' dick is hanging tough because he said, he fired back today. He said, go ahead, show my dick to the world. You can't blackmail me because I'm telling you on you first. So I applaud that. And don't lose faith in democracy, people. This is how it works. So, but I think, isn't the larger question, have dick pics ever worked? I mean, Jeff, I know you're rich, but there's something you should know. There is something in your pants that makes women want to fuck you. Your wallet. And I think that closes that chapter. Okay, now, if anybody is from Virginia, I feel so sorry for you. This is the rat-fuckiest state I've ever seen. A third Virginia politician now has admitted to wearing blackface. I mean, this is the Republican now, Thomas Normant. He was the managing editor at the VMI yearbook, and there are photographs in there of blackface, also slurs against African Americans, Asians, and Jews. Of course, Republicans handle this differently than Democrats do. He has been answering calls now to step up. And the governor of Virginia, this guy is just an idiot. I'm sorry, this Ralph Northam, how did he ever get through medical school? He has been trying to tough it out after admitting to wearing blackface in the 80s to enter a dance contest as Michael Jackson. And now, ironically, everybody is telling him to beat it. It's, and he's just, I'm sorry, but he's just an idiot. I've interviewed a lot of politicians. Sometimes they just are. I mean, he was at a press conference trying to explain this away, and a reporter, Pulitzer Prize in the offing, I'm sure here, asked, can you still moonwalk? And this idiot governor starts looking around like, do I have enough space to bust a move here? And his wife, thank God the wife, whispers, inappropriate. Where was she 30 years ago when he came out of the bathroom as Michael Jackson? I mean, so Democrats in Virginia are in big trouble because the lieutenant governor may go down for sexual assault allegations and now rape allegations. And the third guy, another Democrat, also wore blackface in the 80s to impersonate Curtis Blow. Guys, in Virginia, 2 words, Phil Collins. Go as Phil Collins, go as Sting, Billy Idol, Wings, Bachman Turner Overdrive. There are choices that don't involve blackface. I mean, the Russians are like, do we even need to meddle in this democracy? It's so fucked up. Speaking of the Russians, Trump gave his State of the Union speech on Tuesday. He lied his ass off for 82 minutes. Nancy Pelosi, I love this picture of her behind. She had her no fucks left to give face. And today, Donald Trump had his second physical as a president, close call during the rectal exam. No, this is serious. During the rectal exam, the doctor thought he felt something. So it was just Sean Hannity. Okay. If Garrison Keillor had to go away for putting his hand on a woman's back, perhaps we should decide what should happen when 2 men pin a woman down in the sand and punch her in the face. Because I'm sensing a power imbalance here. There's obviously a lot of rage that police work brings out in a person, and I don't doubt for a moment that it's justified, and that we need to do more to help officers find better ways to channel it. But we also have to call men who wail on the defenseless while their buddies hold them down what they are, cowards. Yes, Trump says things. He says a lot of things. He never stops saying things. But what he does isn't the solution to your problems. It's the cause of them. He's not a champion of the common man. He's a Koch brother in Rip Taylor's wig. We smoked on airplanes. We would board an enclosed aluminum tube with old people and children and asthmatics and light up a Chesterfield. We had pageants where we paraded women in swimsuits and judged them on their appearance. Oh, wait, we still do that. Yes. As much as I personally can't stand to be around them, I would rather American children be well-educated, productive, contributing citizens, as opposed to what they otherwise might become, useless burdens on society. And then there's Dana Lash, who America has come to know as the fiery voice of the NRA, blaming gun violence and all our problems on Hollywood and its liberalism.
They use their movie stars and singers and comedy shows and award shows to repeat their narrative over and over again. Fight this violence of lies with the clenched fist of truth.
Yes, I know what you're thinking. Who hurt you, Danica Patrick? Why the fuck do we need 2 Dakotas? Are they really that different? I don't think so. Combine these 2 states with a total population of 1.6 million get 4 senators. California, with a total population of, have you seen the 405? Get 2. There are more people in California named Dakota than there are in the Dakotas. And finally, new rule, it's time to admit President Trump has actually accomplished one good thing. He's ruined the phrase thoughts and prayers forever. Of course, the problem with thoughts and prayers has always been that thoughts are the opposite of prayers. One is from the Enlightenment and one is from the Exorcist. But it wasn't until Trump tweeted his thoughts and prayers after the Parkland shooting, and one of the survivors tweeted back, "I don't want your condolences, you fucking piece of shit. Prayers won't fix this," that prayer officially became an irony. Anyway, here's the headline from Elle Online and 100 other sites. Jennifer Lawrence's latest Red Sparrow photo call has Twitter calling out gender inequality. Yes, see, because the men are wearing coats, but she's not. And even though that was her choice, someone with 11 followers didn't like it, so the story was reported in the New York Times, the Washington Post, New York Post, Fox News, BBC, Vanity Fair, Chicago Tribune, The Guardian, The National Review. Now, all these esteemed news organizations aren't saying they think it's a big deal because they're serious journalists. They'd rather be writing about Syria and the oceans dying. But oh, the humanity, Jennifer Lawrence didn't have a coat. Wrap her up! Wrap her up! You know, when Tom Cruise barges uninvited into the home of the assistant he's hired and had sex with and says, I'm not letting you get rid of me. How about that? Adorable. If it was Ted Cruz, not so much. Snow White is the 10th highest grossing film ever. It's about a prince who kisses Snow White when she's out cold. Cute from a prince. From Bill Cosby, not cute at all.
Nobody knew that health care could be so complicated.
Abraham Lincoln. Most people don't even know he was a Republican.
People don't realize we are an unbelievably divided country.
People don't know this about Iraq, but they have among the largest oil reserves in the world.
He writes it himself, doesn't he? Here's a picture of Trump hard at work. Have you ever seen an emptier desk? No need for pen, paper, or any device. It's all up here, baby. Even General Kelly had to admit a couple of weeks ago that Trump's idea of the wall was uninformed and had evolved. Ooh, that pissed Trump off. He quickly lie-tweeted, "The wall is the wall. It has never changed or evolved from the first day I conceived of it." Yes, conceived. He's the Leonardo da Vinci of walls. His drawings of walls in his notebooks were years ahead of their time. And don't ever confuse it with a fence. Oh, during the campaign, Trump tweeted to Jeb Bush, "It's not a fence, Jeb. It's a wall. There's a big difference." Colin Kaepernick is a son of a bitch. So is Marshawn Lynch and all the black NFL players who take a knee because they're very ungrateful. Kind of a theme with Trump. Ungrateful. Steph Curry, ungrateful. Yes, because he hesitated on going to the White House. So Trump took back the invitation he never sent to someone who didn't want to go. Then there were the 3 UCLA basketball players who got caught shoplifting in China. Finally, something Trump could relate to. Stealing. But were they grateful? No. Trump tweeted, "Should have left him in jail." Because even though they thanked him, it wasn't really from the heart, guys. You think he ate a lot of shit in The Martian. Minnie Driver responded by saying, "You don't get to tell women that because some guy only showed them their penis, their pain isn't as great as a woman who was raped." What? This is madness. No woman in the world, if she actually had to pick, would choose rape over merely seeing a penis. So why do we all have to pretend Minnie Driver's statement is noble and Matt Damon is crazy? You used to say things like,
I'm not looking to make tremendous amounts of money. I'm looking to enjoy my life.
what? Donald Trump saying there's more to life than money? What happened to this Donald Trump? Did you hide him with your Russia connections? Did you divorce him when he hit menopause? You even used to show humility.
No matter how bright a person may be, there is always that element of luck.
Did you hear that, Don? Luck. Not I'm the greatest, I'm the smartest, only I can fix it. I want that Trump back. He spoke softly and wasn't a big dick. So let's start with what Trump said to Jared right at the beginning.
If you can't produce peace in the Middle East, nobody can.
Yeah, because really, who better to earn the trust of the Palestinians than an Orthodox Jew who specializes in aggressively acquiring real estate? New rule, stop acting so shocked that Selena Gomez is back together with Justin Bieber. If her body didn't reject a kidney, why would it reject an asshole? And finally, new rule, stop making movies where the hero is a guy who can drive a car. Something we let 16-year-olds do. What does it say about our psyche that Hollywood could always count on men to plunk down $10 to watch another man make a motor go vroom, vroom? You know, all these throat catchers, Route 66, and port swings, and barber shops that still offer a shave, and cowboy hats, unless you're a black congresswoman. Farms, old barns, pictures of wheat give them a hard-on. For the party that thinks of itself as the tough guys, they're so susceptible to sentimentalism. That's why they love the paintings of Thomas Kincaid with his vision of America as one big hobbit village of fairy tale cottages. Hillary Clinton spent over $1 billion on the campaign, and the Russians beat her with 150 grand because they were able to turn Facebook into Fakebook. Or a more apt name might be Shit Starter. Because that's what they were doing. That's what their meddling was meant to do, start shit. And boy, was that easy to do, since Facebook is the place where thinking went to die. Just about every business under the sun put up this sign that says, "Warning, detectable amounts of chemicals known to cause cancer may be found around this facility." No shit. We live in LA. It's called air. Honolulu recently banned looking at your phone while crossing the street. But wait, what if I'm getting an important message like that I've left my baby in a hot car? Connell and Ryan, it's not really political. It's just that for the first 70 years of his life, he would never be caught dead hanging around with a traveling Bible salesman like Paul Ryan or a corny, countrified goober like Mitch McConnell. For Christ's sakes, the man is from Kentucky. Jeff Sessions is from Alabama. When he talks, all Trump hears is a tiny little Ernest movie. Mississippi didn't like what Attorney General Bobby Kennedy was doing in the 60s. Well, I don't like what Jeff Sessions is doing now. The script has completely flipped from 50 years ago, when progressives ran the show in Washington, and it was Alabama Governor George Wallace who physically blocked the door of the University of Alabama to prevent black kids from enrolling. He was always screaming about states' rights, which he used as justification for this.
Segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
But that was then. Now, the white supremacists are the federal government. Finally, new rule, fuck fees. When did the American business model switch from honestly selling you a product to tricking the consumer who doesn't read the fine print? Late fees, rebooking fees, restocking fees, roaming fees, overdraft fees, cancellation fees. Fees because you forgot to say Simon Says. My credit card has a maintenance fee. For what? It's a piece of plastic in my wallet. So like someone from Citibank comes by once a month to water it. That moment you fire one of the help for stealing your Gucci sunglasses, then realize they were on your head the whole time. Hashtag help wanted. Had 3 orgasms on our honeymoon night, and that was just looking at his financial statements. Hashtag rocks my World Bank. This is me on the set of Cabin Fever. This isn't a scene from the film. I'm shooting the caterer. I said no gluten. It costs a fortune and dozens of workmen to maintain this. The castle's expensive, too. Hashtag rock the moat. Good morning. But Trump reminds us that some people will break every rule that's not specifically enumerated, from inviting Russian spies into the Oval Office to not releasing his taxes, from insisting law enforcement be loyal to him personally, to maintaining a for-profit business empire while in office. We are learning nothing is just understood. Now, you remember the right was infuriated back when First Lady Michelle Obama was trying to impose her radical Black Panther agenda of encouraging kids to eat healthy. Sarah Palin went so far as to defiantly show up at a school with plates of sugar cookies. That'll teach you kids to eat a carrot. How did vegetables get to be un-American? Okay, super patriots, eat what you want, but let's get real. These colors don't run because these colors can't run. You remember this picture? Trump, right after he fired Comey, welcoming the Russian spy master into the Oval Office to give our intel to him, a move that left most people stunned, but not his people. Their reaction wasn't, OMG, what a traitor. It was, LOL, what a troll. Puppet? You're the puppet. Anytime you see that shit-eating grin, you know it's troll time. Or clearly the term Republican principles no longer has any meaning. Since Trump got elected, they have pulled utter 180s on infrastructure, free trade, reducing debt, family values, the Constitution. When Obama signed executive orders, it was proof we were being governed by a lawless tyrant. Now Trump does it, and he proudly displays them like he's the Price is Right girl. Trump tweeted 27 times about how Obama played too much golf. Now he plays twice as much. Suddenly the problem of presidents playing golf too much disappeared faster than a Russian journalist. And because I'm telling you, we are at maximum stupid. We don't read. It's one thing to take the summer off from heavy stuff and just bring to the beach utter nonsense like romance novels and whodunits and Scientology. But at least it was a book of some kind. Now educated people spend their spare time on the phone matching pretty colors in order to break imaginary candy. Hallmark needs a card that says, it's not that you're gay, it's not that you're lesbian, but because you didn't have kids, mine got into Wesleyan. So, you know, having kids or not having kids, there's not a moral dimension to it. That's what I'm saying. It's just your taste. I don't have kids for the same reason you do, because that's what each of us wants. I get it. Lots of people love kids. We must put our minors back to work. No. The jobs we're losing aren't in coal. They're at Kohl's. What is this fetish Trump has with coal miners? Do they have a P-tape on him? He said he was going to be the greatest jobs president God ever created. Maybe he could start by waddling down to Forever 71. But honestly, under Hillary, would we have Attorney General Foghorn Leghorn? Or Montgomery Burns in charge of the EPA? Or Rick Perry guarding the nukes? Would she have a cabinet made up almost entirely of rich, straight, white men? You know, Hillary, she knows quite a few black people. Trump knows 2. I'm sorry, 3. You guys probably agree with me that it's kind of cool that you can write a musical in hip-hop now, like Hamilton. And I'm okay with seeing this guy playing this guy. But Trump voters don't want to see that the founding fathers have been funkified. Ain't Broadway supposed to be the great white way? Now, while we're at it, does everyone in baseball have to be Mexican now? Lopez, Hernandez, Martinez, Fernandez, Ramirez. When did the Yankees become the parking lot at Home Depot? Well, I do mind. We need to quash this stupid fantasy that Mars is a perfectly reasonable planetary backup. Movies, TV shows, magazines, and this constant drumbeat to get to Mars, explore Mars, colonize Mars. To paraphrase Jan Brady, Martians, Martians, Martians. Budweiser announced they're investigating how to brew quality beer on Mars. Something they can't even do here. That is an enabler, and that word is not a compliment. We've heard it a lot with celebrities. Elvis had his Memphis Mafia. Michael Jackson had a doctor who never said, "Gee, Mike, your nose just fell off again. Maybe cut back on the plastic surgery." Bill Cosby could not have pulled off 40 years of, let's call it extreme dating without various underlings who funneled women his way and paid them off, to say nothing of the guy who supplied the horse tranquilizers and never once said, "Wow, Bill, that is one nervous horse you have there." He promised, and I quote, "We're going to have insurance for everybody, much less expensive and much better." But when we saw the bill, it was a giant tax cut for the rich paid by kicking 24 million people off their health insurance. What a truly novel approach to making health care less expensive, saving money by not giving people health care. It's like saving money on your kids' education by letting them stay home and watch Judge Judy. Finally, new rule: if you're one of the millions of Americans who wore green to work today and started celebrating St. Patrick's Day at lunchtime, stop. Put down the green beer, take off the "shit me, I'm kiss-faced" t-shirt, and hear me out, because as an Irish American, I must say, the association of my tribe with this drunken slob fest is getting a little old. Been there, puked that. I mean, imagine if we celebrated other ethnic groups in the same way we do the Irish on St. Paddy's Day, where the worst stereotype is reinforced. What if for Columbus Day, everyone wore wife beaters and moved back in with their mother? We must put our miners back to work. No, the jobs we're losing aren't in coal, they're at Kohl's. What is this fetish Trump has with coal miners? Do they have a P-tape on him? He said he was going to be the greatest jobs president God ever created. Maybe he could start by waddling down to Forever 71. And buying a lighter shade of bronzer in a suit that fits. In 2006, you know, just as print media was taking off. Then in 2007, he used his father's fortune to pay the highest price ever for a New York City building, right before the economy and New York real estate collapsed. The secret to real estate is buy low, sell high. 4 words, and Jared got 2 of them wrong. New rule, Dove is free to market these new bottles that reflect the fact that women come in many different shapes, they say. But they have to admit that the product names are a little offensive, like Dove, obvious boob job, come on. Dove, skinny bitch, thinks her shit don't stink. And Dove, great personality. And finally, new rule, if the new normal is a president who has bragged about sexual assault and walking in on naked teenage beauty pageant contestants, and who has spoken lustfully about his own daughter, and once said of a 5th grader, I'm going to date her in 10 years, tell me again why someone like Elliot Spitzer is so terrible? Elliot Spitzer, who you may recall had to go away after a hooker scandal because when a hooker blows a politician, it puts a lobbyist out of work. But new rule, amid his troubles, we must all at least give Chris Christie credit for this. He said he wanted to drop 115 unwanted pounds, and he did. New rule, Haley Joel Osment has to admit that in addition to seeing dead people, he also sees cake. New rule, you can call this woman anything you want, but you can't call her a real housewife. I grew up in suburbia, and I can tell you that this woman lacks almost everything that real housewives have, including chronic fatigue, a diaper bag, and underwear. On a roll, sure, but you can't put a bumper sticker on your car just because your kid showed up for school. Talk about lowering the bar. What's next? One that says, my child never got lice at Burbank Elementary. My child ate all of his tater tots at Wellington Middle School. My child never brought my gun to school and shot his classmates at Belmont High. Oh, call me. Terrible. Neural, now that she's gone, America must take a moment to remember Shirley Temple Black and try to forget Black Shirley Temple. I've offended them again.
Not our best.
New rule, now that Doritos is introducing Doritos Loaded, the new Doritos chips stuffed with processed cheese, Americans have to... Oh, fuck it, eat it. Eat the whole bag. I don't care anymore. Let's see if we as a nation get ourselves so unhealthy we have to invent something called hepatitis E. New rule, if you invested all your money in virtual currency, don't be surprised when it virtually disappears. Who could have predicted this? Virtually everyone. Yes, the internet's biggest Bitcoin exchange collapsed after hackers stole all the Bitcoins. Oh no, and I was saving for a unicorn. You know, I'm no big fan of Citibank, but I trusted more than 3 guys in a basement playing Dungeons and Dragons. New rule, Bettle, whatever country this photo was taken in has to let me do acid there. I'm not even sure this is a country. I think it might be gay heaven. New rule, Star Wars fans can't freak out about the news this week that the next installment will be set 30 years after the original. You've got to learn to accept that people get older. Dashing smuggler Han Solo is now... He's now smuggling generic Lipitor from Canada. And boyish Luke Skywalker is having trouble keeping his lightsaber up. And lovable robot R2-D2 is tired of living a lie. Now, for people who post photos of their cat on Reddit, Facebook, or any other site do it again, they must consider this. People have seen cats before. Dog photos, on the other hand, still totally adorable. That is always good. Now, if the Star magazine wants to shock me with Brad and Angie's Bizarre World, they've got to do better than a house full of junk food and trash. That's everybody's house. What's your house full of, Star Reader? Rare first editions and impressionist art? Neural Kraft Foods does not need to recall the 96,000 pounds of hot dogs they are recalling because the ingredients on the package were mislabeled. They're hot dogs. If we read the ingredients, we wouldn't buy them to begin with. If the ingredients were feathers, lawn fertilizer, and ground-up fingers of illegal immigrants who work at the plant, and they are, Americans would still have only one question. If I cut it up, can I feed it to the baby? New rule, stop calling what happened in Oklahoma this week a botched execution. The guy died, didn't he? So it took longer than they promised. What do you expect from government employees? A botched execution is when the guy gets up off the gurney and says, "That was refreshing. What's for dinner?" New rule, somebody has to break it to the Sultan of Brunei that it's a violation of Sharia law to dress like Elton John. You can all agree on that. New rule, the people who say the most uncomfortable they've ever felt witnessing a kiss was when Michael Sam shared this moment with his boyfriend have to admit they're purposely forgetting the 2000 Democratic National Convention. And all you tough guys out there have to admit you're fine with a man-on-man kiss as long as it means I'm going to kill you. New rule, New rule, authorities have to explain why this 63-year-old Michigan man arrested on child porn charges hadn't already been arrested on child porn. And LA hipsters have to explain why, if they're so hip, this 63-year-old pervert is dressed exactly like you. New rule, the confusing clear history button on web browsers must be renamed to reflect what it actually means. I'm done whacking off. Well, baristas have to find a better use for their Masters of Fine Arts degree than drawing pictures in my latte. Coffee is a drug. It doesn't require cute pictures to make people want it. Never once has a Coke dealer laid out lines in the shape of Hello Kitty. These scientists who conducted a 6-year study of 2 male bears and found that one performed fellatio on the other multiple times per day must admit that after the first year, they were just watching because they liked it. I'm no scientist, but I think after watching bear blowjobs for a month or so, I'd be like, yeah, they're definitely blowing each other, and get on with my life. Plus, you guys should have kept that fun fact to yourself, because when a bear approaches, we want campers to run. And while we're at it, now that we know that bears give head, the Chicago Bears must change their logo. That is good. New rule, the producers of the new TV show Rising Star have to admit that anyone in America with any talent at all has already appeared on one of the other TV talent shows. Unless one of those 8-year-olds who just crossed the Mexican border can carry a tune, I think we're tapped out. Well, you can make a good case for cutting the balls off a cat, but you can't pretend it makes the cat cool. This is Scooter, the new mascot for neutering your cat. He's got sunglasses, a big gold necklace, and he's covered in fur. Oh, wait, that's not a cat. That's the Armenian guy who sold me my cell phone. Did I bring it back on?
You did, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God.
New rule, now that Marvel Comics has announced their superhero Thor is now a woman, they have to promise not to make Spider-Man gay. Because I can't think of a more offensive name for a gay man than Peter Parker. Oh, my.
Oh, my, indeed.
New rule, creationist Ken Ham, who runs the Creation Museum, and said this week that we should call off the search for extraterrestrial life because aliens haven't heard the word of Jesus and thus are going to hell anyway, must listen to this alternative point of view from Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
That's messed up.
Beautiful reading. Like in A Beautiful Mind, I give you the pen. New rule, the illustrator of this children's book, My Parents' Open Carry, has to tell me what the dad in this picture, Freddie Mercury apparently, is doing with his hand. Also, if mom and dad are both safe because they're packing, why are they using their daughter as a human shield? New rule, the next Apple product must be a taser that shocks people who camp out waiting to buy it. If the people on these lines crave communicating so much, why isn't there a single picture of two of them talking? New rule, if Budweiser and Miller really want to merge to become a company that controls 1/3 of the planet's beer sales, they must first pledge to learn how to make beer. Someone has to tell the Kurdish Peshmerga forces, not now for sexy time. Come on, guys, are we fighting ISIS or picking up Persian girls at the Beverly Center? Sunglasses by DKNY, machine gun by CIA. New rule, just because you plop your kid down in front of an iPad instead of a TV doesn't mean you're not a bad parent. Although, I must say, damned if it doesn't work. Kids in restaurants these days, silent. Kids at the grocery store, comatose. On the plane, zombies. Sure, you're saddling them with the future of attachment disorders and ADHD, but look on the bright side. You couldn't afford college anyway. New rule, Barack Obama must fire whoever decided that his wife's big cause as First Lady should be sharecropping. New rule, someone has to tell this little girl, that's not the lady who wrote Harry Potter. New rule, marine biologists have to hurry up and identify this mysterious tentacled sea creature before Chris Christie breads it, deep fries it, and eats it. New rule, now that a Dutch biker gang has joined the fight against ISIS in Syria, which prompted German bikers to also join the fight against ISIS in Syria, it's time to send in the French bikers and Finish off these motherfuckers once and for all. New rule, now that I've seen the video of the woman in New York City being harassed over 100 times a day, scientists must explain why the men with the most self-confidence are always the ones with the least to offer. Hey, baby, you want to come back to my place? It's that dumpster right over there. I'll let you have a sip of whatever is in this can I found. New rule, the astronauts in Interstellar have to look more like they're on an adventure beyond imagination and less like they've lost their car keys. And speaking of Matthew McConaughey, this face doesn't say, Lincoln, live in the moment. It says, I got so stoned I bought a Lincoln. New rule, if Europe has the technology to send a probe 4 billion miles and land it on a comet traveling 84,000 miles an hour, Italians can learn to park. New rule, in these partisan times, Teddy Bear Paradise, her real name, the Houston woman who was sentenced this week for sending threatening letters to Obama, and who in 2008 pled guilty to threatening to kill Bush, must be held up as an example of bipartisanship. Too many Americans today just blindly follow their party, but not Teddy Bear Paradise. She carefully weighs all the voices in her head and holds both parties accountable by threatening to stab them. New rule. And while we're on the subject, everyone in the marching band who's not playing the trumpet or the drums can stay home because no one can hear you. The South Dakota Department of Public Safety can say this ad campaign doesn't mean stop masturbating. But then they have to say what it does mean. And tell me, how else am I supposed to stay awake when I drive through South Dakota? All right, new rule, in order to remain consistent, the next Republican State of the Union response must be delivered by an actual deer in headlights. New rule. All right, new rule. Now that Apple, under its gay CEO Tim Cook, has made the largest quarterly profit in history, from now on the phrase, you're so gay, means congratulations on your success. New rule, now that Puxatawny... I know, why do I even need a rule for this? Now that Puxatawny Phil has seen his shadow... Oh, wait, that's Donald Trump's head. I'm sorry, go on to the next one, you're right. All right, new rule, unless the projectionist did something absolutely amazing, don't clap at the end of a movie. I hate to be the one to break this to you, but Iron Man can't hear you. You're applauding a light bulb. Clapping for a movie is like tipping an inflatable sex doll. A slow gathering applause. It took many years, but the applause came in. New rule, no ruining Anna Wintour's Fashion Week by bringing in a screaming baby. If she wanted to hear crying children while admiring new clothes, she'd go to the factories where they sew them. New rule, Daniel Howland, the Texas man who got a tattoo of that color-changing dress, really needs a 24-hour waiting period before he gets another tattoo. Because his other tattoos are New Coke, the choice of the next generation, MySpace, the social network of tomorrow, and Bill Cosby is USA Dad #1 forever. New rule, demeaning. New rule, you don't have to ask me if I want to skip this ad.
Yes.
Hello, I'm at work. I'm spending all morning watching porn, Russian car crash videos, and a turtle fucking a shoe. And you expect me to take time out of my busy day to watch your ad? You see the irony? New rule, before mocking FarmersOnly.com, the dating site for country folks, or as I call it, hicks with dicks, you must remember it's better for rural America to date on FarmersOnly.com than where they used to date, Ancestry.com. New rule, now that the University of North Georgia has put out this Why Follow When You Can Lead course guide that shows white men winning out over a woman and a black man, they have to change their name to Cracker State. Cracker State, home of the Flying Mullets, where our Black Studies program is our basketball team.
Oh my God.
New rule, Rand Paul either has to lay off the anti-gay rhetoric or stop standing like this. New rule, now that the Cleveland woman who dropped a 2-year-old in the cheetah pit at the zoo has been punished with a leave of absence from her job at the daycare center, someone has to tell me what you've got to do over there to get fired. Put twins in the wood chipper? I get presumed innocent, but with that kind of job security, you should be a cop. New rule, if she wants to attract young voters, Hillary Clinton needs a campaign logo that looks less like hospital parking. And speaking of logos, the designers of the logo for Sarah Palin's PAC should talk to the guys who draw Goofy. They can explain that when you see stars, it doesn't really mean you're looking to the future. It means you just walked into a stop sign. All right, new rule, white people. White people have to admit that they've thought about burning down a CVS too. They're the size of airplane hangars, and there's always just one employee, and she's busy developing photos for the one person left in the world who still uses film. New rule, whatever you think of Mike Huckabee's politics, you have to admit that he's a brave man. Because he knew that the week he announced he was running, I'd be showing this photo of his family.
Oh, man.
And you know why they look so happy? Because they just ate Mitt Romney's family. New rule, don't fall asleep in front of Kim Jong-un. He had his defense chief executed for the crime of nodding off at some event, possibly a performance of the Children's Orchestra. Yeah, so if you're in Kim's inner circle, just to be on the safe side, you might want to pick up a pair of these. New rule. Now that America has helped the rest of the world address the problems at FIFA, it has to help the rest of the world address an even bigger world problem: Speedos on their beaches. Here's how it's going to work. If there are too many Speedos on your beaches this summer, sanctions will be drawn up and enforced. But if you combine a Speedo with gold chains, we invade. All right, new rule. Malaysian authorities who claimed, in all seriousness, that the earthquake near Mount Kinabalu was caused by tourists taking nude photos on the mountain must be told they're being ridiculous. Ask anyone here in modern America. Natural disasters are not caused by tourists and nude photos. They're caused by abortion and gay marriage.
good idea.
New rule: cops in New York hunting for those 2 prison escapees have to admit that this is pretty much how they'd spend their weekend if nobody had escaped from prison. You gear up and you go 4-wheeling, then maybe some duck hunting, you take the boat out, and next it'll be like, hey, Jimmy, you know where we forgot to look? The titty bar. New rule: now that the Confederate flag is on its way out, someone has to reassure Southern men wondering what they're going to run up and down their pole that they still have their sister's hand. All right. New rule: stop saying that the 2-tiered debate format is turning the Republican presidential race into a reality TV show. No, it's more like the Westminster Kennel Club dog show. You know, where the dogs compete in separate categories. The big dogs that bark a lot and slobber. And the small dogs that wear sweaters and prance. All right, new rule: now that Kim Jong-un has executed some 70 officials, he has to explain why his barber is still alive. Is it possible he's surrounded by sycophants? So many sycophants that nobody has the nerve to tell him his hair looks ridiculous. Yes, I suppose that is possible. New rule: someone must warn Jessica Hayes, the Indiana woman who participated in a rare Catholic wedding ceremony where she married Jesus, not to expect too much from the honeymoon. I don't know which is sadder, the delusion that Jesus would even want to marry you, or all those wasted hours striking a seductive pose on the bed waiting for him to come out of the bathroom. New rule: stop sending me this photo of a Trump rally with the sign, "Thank you, Lord Jesus, for President Trump." It's not the sign that worries me, it's the baby. That look on his face says, "I have seen the future and I want back in the womb." New rule: don't judge how poorly the stock market is doing based on the reaction of the traders on the floor. They flip out over everything. These guys pictured here are just ordering coffee. That's so true. New rule, someone has to
Dear God.
Someone has to explain to Jefferson King, the Florida man, always Florida, arrested for publicly masturbating in a Burger King, that "have it your way" refers to your food order. Also, if you want to have any chance at all of acquittal, don't take a mugshot that looks like you're still masturbating in a Burger King. New rule: the Korean craze mukbang, or broadcast eating, where fans watch internet celebrities binge eating huge meals, has to come to America. Because I think we can beat them at this. After all, what Koreans call binge eating, we call eating. New rule, if you really want to assure conservative Catholics that you're holding the line on gay marriage, don't pose like you're on top of a gay wedding cake. New rules: guys need to get it through their head that the only thing sadder than you going on about football is you going on about fantasy football. And by the way, if you delight in imagining having a bunch of young, fit athletes and what it would be like if they played for your team, it's pretty clear what your real fantasy is. New rule. All right, new rule. Someone has to explain to the man on a flight from Scotland to Amsterdam who tried to open the plane's exit door at 30,000 feet because he thought it was the door to the restroom that that's the kind of stoner move you make on the way back from Amsterdam. New rule. All right, new rule. If cops want to appear less militarized, they have to lose those boots. Unless you're getting your horse ready for the steeplechase, let's admit that jack boots are only appropriate in two places: neo-Nazi rallies and gay porn. Those are the only two. New rule, the California town that just outfitted its officers with nunchucks has to admit they got bored beating the snot out of people the old-fashioned way. Nunchucks? It's one thing to get beaten by a cop on video. It's another when it sounds like this.
Stop resisting. I told you to stop resisting.
I did the best I could.
Like the Ninja Turtle cops.
New rule, if you hire someone like Ben Carson did to sandblast Bible quotes into the walls of your home, make sure they know how to spell Proverbs. Lest thou appear an idiot. Thanks, fellas. New rule, it ain't you. New rule, if you're going to ban people from the Middle East, can we start with the world's #1 hypocrites, Saudi princes who moved to L.A. to do all the un-Islamic stuff they can't do back home? I'd rather have 100 Syrian refugees next door than Prince Abdullah bin Douchebag. Is that okay? Okay. All right. New rule, if you tell someone to kiss your ass and they have to ask which one, you might have a weight problem. In fact, I'm beginning to think this is why Christie is so irritable all the time. His head is actually on backwards.
Oh my God, another beer.
New rule, Chris Christie must look on the bright side. Now that he's dropped out of the race, he can stop doing all those embarrassing and humiliating campaign stunts and go back to the simple dignity of his real job, selling Mucinex. New rule, the South Carolina cop charged with sitting in his patrol car watching pornography on his cell phone while rubbing his penis through his uniform pants has to learn what hands up, don't shoot means. New rule, Ted Cruz has to stop doing the Pledge of Allegiance with his hand in his jacket. It's an oath, not a breast exam. It's like he loves America so much he's going to second base. Finally, new rule, football is a body-crushing, brain-wrecking game. But we all know that now, so either ban it or shut the hell up about it. And I say that as someone who is not callous to the suffering. When I see a receiver go over the middle and get hammered, I always think, one, I hope that didn't cause permanent damage, and two, did he get enough for the first down? Because we needed that play. Oh, he didn't even hold on? Fuck, what are we paying you for? Whole Foods can order a recall of its blue cheese because it's bad.